I'm going to go ahead and call the regular DeKalb City Council meeting of October 27th, 2025 to order. Roll call, please.
Zazada,
Here.
Larson,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Carlson,
Here.
Powell,
Here.
Verbic,
Here.
Walker,
Here.
Mayor Barnes.
Here. All right, moving on to agenda item B, Pledge of Allegiance. Where's my Cub Scouts?
They're right here.
Oh, there they are. All right, come on in, boys. Is there? I'm looking. No, there could be. Holy cow, look at all of you. Wow, this is a serious pack. And girls, excellent. I love it. Whenever you all are set up, no hurry. Feel free to start leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. By the way, this is Pack 104, correct? 131. 131. This is Pack 131. All right.
Absolutely. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh my gosh, you all did a wonderful job. Would you mind if we got a photo op? Sure. That would be great. If we could take a picture with all of you. Are you all okay with that? All right, that's great. Council? We have a camera guy that's going to tell us what's Where do you want us, Scott?
I've been bedridden for 2 days. No, it's my own fault, Tracy. It's my own. I've been too running. I had to prove it.
All right, come on. Can I stand next to you, sir? All right, he's going to let us know if he can't see someone, but the thing is, if you can't see him, he can't see you, and that's important.
All right, everybody look right here. I'm going to do 2 and 3. 2, 1. All right, very good. Thank you.
Nice job. All right, thank you so much. Woo, that was a good one. All right. You all are sir. Let me hang in. All right. Thank you. Woo. All right. Did I keep you already?
Hey, how you doing?
Sir. All right. Thank you all. Have a wonderful night. Thanks for all the parents.
That was really cool.
That is a great way to start the meeting. Have a great night, everybody. Bye now. They did wonderful. All right, moving on to agenda item C, approval of the agenda. I would take a motion to approve the agenda as is.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Larson. Any comments or questions?
Mayor,
Yeah.
motion to amend. I have a motion to amend the
Sure.
agenda to include how City Council places agenda items according to Chapter 2.09A of our municipal code, and I'm looking for a second.
Second.
All right, so there is a motion and a second. Would that be a consideration, or where would we put that in the agenda?
Uh,
Oh.
Yes.
All
We
right,
don't have an ordinance or resolution at this point.
so I would put that maybe above considerations, the annual property tax levy?
Well, at this point, Mayor, there has to be council discussion and so on.
I understand.
But that's how it would show up.
Okay, all right.
Unless, it also could show up as a presentation if the alderman wants to present something.
I assume so, so. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Yes, Alderwoman Zada.
I don't know what led to this, but I'm excited about the opportunity.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. All right, so this is going to be added as, I guess, I-1.
Great, thank you.
Yep, and we all should have in our email background information on some of this, I think. All right, so moving on to agenda item D, presentations. We have a proclamation for Fall Arbor Day. I'm going to go ahead and read it. We have no one here to receive it like we usually do because tomorrow we have an event that we're going to that is part of this whole thing. So this proclamation, as I said, is for Fall Arbor Day, October 28, 2025. So whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture set aside a special day for the planting of trees. And this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And trees in our community increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Cohen Barnes, Mayor of the City of DeKalb, Illinois, by the authority vested in the office, do hereby proclaim October 28, 2025 as Fall Arbor Day in the City of DeKalb and urge all citizens to celebrate Fall Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. As always, let's give a round of applause for everyone contributing to Arbor Day. All right, moving on to agenda item E, public participation, we have none. Moving on to agenda item F, appointments, we have none. Moving on to agenda item G, consent agenda. 1, minutes of the regular city council meeting of October 13th, 2025. 2, accounts payable and payroll through October 28th, 2025 in the amount of $3,263,742.08. 3, Freedom of Information Act FOIA report, September 2025. 4, FY 2025 Human Services Funding, third quarter report. 5, Resolution 2025-096, authorizing the approval of certain executive session meeting minutes of the City of DeKalb City Council. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as is?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Powell, seconded by Alderman Carlson. Comments or questions, council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. All right, the consent agenda passes. Moving on to agenda item H, public hearings, we have none. So agenda item I, considerations, number 1, Alderman Verbic.
Yes, the item is how do city council members place items on the agenda? So our municipal code in chapter 2.09A reads, any 2 or more city council members desiring that a matter be placed on a regular meeting agenda for consideration by the city council shall advise the city manager not later than 12 o'clock noon on the Monday preceding a council meeting. They shall supply the city manager with a copy of all relevant materials to be considered by the city council. The city manager shall include any such matter as a consideration item on the requested agenda. And there's a B that goes on to talk about how an individual resident would put something on the agenda. But more than anything, it's just I'm wanting to hear from council, is this how we want to operate? Or if you saw in the email that you were all copied on, do you want that to be led by the city manager?
Council or city manager?
It's your call.
Yeah, okay, Alderman Larson.
Okay, so from personal experience, back to ARPA money that I had wanted to bring up, and I talked to different council members, and Alderwoman Zazada agreed with me, and that's how we got it on. And so I'm like, if it's not just a personal thing, then there should be at least one other member of council that, if for no other reason, like you said tonight, I'm not really sure what this is about, but I'm so glad that we're talking about it. So, I don't know, it worked well in the one time I tried to use it, and it was up for discussion, so.
It's worked well for a number of times for us as well.
So I would be keeping it the same.
For me, I'm always incredibly cognizant of city staff time. So I would encourage all council members, I mean, right now, we're in the middle of the budget season. We literally have a city manager working 7 days a week. And introduce new items right now puts an additional burden on our city manager and staff as well. So I would highly encourage council members to always be just cognizant of our ask, because sometimes our ask can require a substantial amount of time. And I think we would all agree the level of professionalism that we have with our city staff means if they're going to engage in an agenda item, it's not just something arbitrary that someone's going to Google and throw some description on the agenda. What they're going to do is they're going to spend a significant amount of time making sure that the background information is absolutely incredible, that we all have everything that we need to make an informed decision. So again, I would be very cognizant, if you want to do this, that we listen to the city manager on when something may or may not come to the city council's agenda. Alderman Verbeek.
Yeah, I guess in a nutshell, I would completely agree with being respectful of staff time, not expecting in the peak season of being busy. I think we need to be considerate of when these items should be posted. And I guess for clarity's sake, I'm hearing from council that council wishes to, again, lead the agenda in collaboration with the city manager versus the city manager leading the agenda in collaboration with council. And that's the way I was reading it, but the email reply from the city manager did not allude to that effect. So I wanted to make sure that that was cleared up. So thank you.
Oh, city manager.
Oh, I'll wait till the
Okay.
council is done.
Any other comments or questions on this one, council? City manager?
Yeah, I do have some things to say about this. And I think, with all respect to Alderman Verbeek, I think this is a misreading. What he has presented to you is a misreading of what both the intent and the letter of that particular passage is. Now, the intent, you really have to go back and do a little homework, which I've done, which I shared with the aldermen and everyone on the council. Back in 2011 and 2012, it was a different time and a different council at that time. And there were a lot of items that were being brought to the council agenda that had no background, and it led to meetings that went till 11 o'clock and midnight because people would try to fill in the course of a meeting, or maybe it'd be carried over to the next meeting. And sometimes it would be the city manager or a member of the staff, a department head, who would scramble to add some meat for you to discuss in the direction of an action item. So to remedy the possibility that one alderman might never be able to get something on the agenda, there was debate at the council level, and this was an intra-council debate. This wasn't between the council and the city manager at the time, about how can a minority, one or two, as an example, ever get something up on the agenda. And the minutes from that conversation, I wasn't there, and the minutes are pretty spare, but it's pretty clear that there was a difference of opinion at the time. But it was determined that the language that the alderman just referred to should be added to the city code. Now, unfortunately, there wasn't much thought to other parts of the city code which get to the fundamental facts of the council manager form of government. In fact, just in the next paragraph, it says very clearly, just as strongly, inclusion of any such matter on the agenda shall be at the discretion of the city manager. And that is more consistent with, may I finish?
Yeah.
That is more consistent with the chapter on, I guess you would call it the powers chapter, dealing with the responsibilities and duties of the city manager. And there, 2 or 3 times, it talks about the city manager preparing an agenda for the council. Now, why would that be there? And why is that consistent with what so many council manager forms of government do in the state of Illinois? Well, here's why. Because the council doesn't have any operating authority. It is a benefit that council members know department heads and some members of our departments. That's a good thing about our community, about our smaller city. We get to do that. We get to understand, and I've never shown any possessiveness about people picking up the phone to call this or that department head or other staffer. But when it comes to the day-to-day operations, it falls to me, and through my delegation, other department heads and people, to carry out your policies. And these are full-time jobs. We have 200 full-time employees. It's my job then to be the intermediary with you and to explain how things are going. And if I can't do that to your satisfaction, we can bring up, it's one of the reasons why we have department heads come to your council meetings. So what is my point here? If the council brings up an idea, unless that council member, and it can happen, is a foremost authority on that makes sense, and you want to introduce it to us and we have not experienced this or worked with this, great. But otherwise, it's my job to make sure you have all the background and information you need, and I have the ability, not the council, and the authority and the responsibility to direct our 200 city employees to provide me and I provide you with the information. If it doesn't work that way, then on any given council night, after several weeks that go by, obviously between council meetings, sometimes there are 3, and with all the weight of the things that we bring to you, then all of a sudden we have something that falls in without dutiful background. And then the people who come to the meetings, not so many tonight, but there are people
Online.
who come and they watch us and so forth, will not be well served. So what I'm saying is information is power, right? And information should be credible, that's presented to you, and it should be pretty much based on the facts that we can generate for you. We don't know everything about everything, and we don't know all the facts. But in the council manager form of government, that's what's supposed to happen. If we want to go to some other form of government, we'll have to go back to referendum and do that. Whether you want it to be a strong council administrator form of government, where the administrator is just your employee, okay, but we have to then undo what we have and go in that direction. So this is not just a question about, I think the point at the time was, should we get the downtown property owners, merchants, and others involved in helping to pay for events, to defray the cost of events. We can debate that particular topic on its merits, but it's not about that. It's also about the system that we have here that since 1961 has proven to be a pretty solid system in terms of, and I think in recent years, you've never had so much background and prior sifting and sorting of information as you have under this current team.
You had something else?
Yeah, to the many thanks to you and your staff, how many of our agenda items you have managed and have responded to and have been prompt and so on and so forth. But I would disagree. Read chapter 2.09B. It refers to a person, not to city council members. And I know, and you may affirm, that every time that we've asked or I've asked for or talked about a possible agenda item, I have included ample research and backup in every occasion. If I've not, please let me know. But
I think I can let you know right now, what you put to me last week, because the rest of the public don't know what we're talking about here. You referred to it as information from 2019. That's 6 years ago.
Yep.
That you think is the basis for having a discussion about whether or not we should have special event fees charged to people who are organizing special events.
Yeah, it was at that time you provided me with an estimate of what you thought it cost us as a city.
6 years ago, a lot has
to put on
changed.
Corn Fest.
And Alderman, if you had put that to me and said, Bill, let's talk about how would you create some background today? What would be the kinds of things that you would look to, and then we could have that back and forth. I'd say, well, we can certainly look at our budget allocations, what we've been doing in recent years. We can bring everybody up to date. Corn Fest is very different now. It's down the middle. It's possible now to more efficiently clean up afterward and set up for it, and on and on and on. We can give you other examples. But instead, just throw the topic up. Then we got to go back and do the research that should have been behind the topic in the first place.
And I disagree. I believe that you should not engage the staff and/or put time into it until City Council gives you that direction. So we bring an item to City Council. Does City Council support staff doing the work on this item? Do you want to continue with it? Then yes, then staff would go to work on it, provide us with backup or whatnot, but it's also our responsibility to provide backup when we are recommending an agenda item.
So as we plan our work, last point.
Okay.
As we plan our work, Alderman, are we to do that and then leave a certain chunk of time, a certain afternoon every week for those pop-up questions that this council is going to say, I want you to work on this before the next meeting? Is that what we're supposed to do? Because then we're going to have to do something different.
No. I would say you would work on this when your schedules allow, as according to council's directive. So if we agree on going forward with an item, it has got to be within your work schedule as far as how you can accommodate it. Depending on council's wishes, council could direct you, bring it back to the next meeting, right? I'm rarely looking for that kind of urgency.
But ultimately, I mean, if every council meeting, if we go down this path, every council meeting, it's going to take 2 council members to suggest, is it 1, 5, 20, 50 agenda items that we're going to sit here and discuss? And I think that puts city administration, as City Manager Nicholas was commenting on, in a very poor position, because information is being discussed, not with fact, not with research being done. It's just at the subjective whim of the conversation and how it flows. I think we have done an amazing job, and I give City Manager Nicholas and his leadership a lot of credit on this for years now, to be able to conduct and perform professional, well-researched, and well-documented in the research information for every council meeting that we have, which gives every council member the background they have in order to make an intelligent discussion. I haven't, and I think most, I don't know, you've brought agenda items forward before and we put them on the agenda. I think if we make a request for the city manager, I would love to be CC'd on that, because maybe it's a conversation we could have before the council meeting, because he can explain why it's going to be so much time to be dedicated to a particular item, or that item was already addressed in the recent past. I would like to continue the way things have been going, where if you have an agenda item, bring it up to the city manager, bring it up to me, and if I have a feeling your agenda item is going to get put on the agenda without us going down the path of forcing agenda items, which puts, again, administration in a very precarious situation.
It can't be based on your feeling, Mayor. Mayor, it can't be based on your feeling.
Alderman Walker
it has to be based on council directive.
Alderman Walker.
Mr. Rose, can you break this down for us? How does an alderperson get something to the agenda? Just break it down to us, not all that legal stuff, just break it down.
In the council manager form of government, the council is what you would consider as the legislative branch of government, and the manager is the executive branch of government. And I can go into a civics lesson, but I'll spare you. For this purpose, the executive sets the agenda, and the legislature will vote on the agenda. Now, that means that the legislature here can determine the policy, it can make an amendment, right? So on and so forth. But most of the time, and there is, in the Illinois Municipal Code, it does set out the fact that the power of the manager is to make recommendations for the council's approval. So if you were to consider a form of an amendment that would usurp that power, that may actually violate the managerial form of government. With that said, what normally happens is that the council will have some level of discussion and input behind the scenes. Ultimately, the city manager is responsible to the council and is going to want to have to put on the agenda what the council's direction is and what there's some support. But if you want something specifically on the agenda, that's where the motion to amend comes.
And I would think, like, we just did it right now. This is a perfect example. There's a motion by a council member, there's a second, there's a vote. We voted to amend the agenda and put this on for discussion, and it's there. My ask is we avoid that as much as we possibly can. And somehow we've been able to do this for 5 years, since I've been on council, or almost 5 years, without issue. But again, we know how much time this staff spends to produce a well-documented and researched agenda item. And I want to continue to give them the respect of knowing what could be coming up for them to be able to do that. We have the ability to change it, we just did it, but I don't think that's providing the support that I know our administration would like to have when it comes to agenda items.
Yeah, gotchas don't belong here, right?
But I got another question though. So,
Yep.
okay, so I understand what both of you are saying.
Microphone.
However, you know, I think.
Microphone.
Oh, you got a microphone, sorry.
Well,
so
hey,
everyone can hear
I'm
you.
talking.
I know. There you go, all right.
Alderman Verbeek, if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong. But, so I guess basically what you're saying is, how do I word this? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth. I guess it's hard, you know, let's say we don't agree on the same thing, and we do come to you and want to get something on the agenda, but for whatever reason, you don't want it on the agenda. So then how, because we ran in this position to make change and to make.
Absolutely.
So I guess if you and the city manager don't believe that it should be on the agenda, then really what's the point of us being alder people, and how can we make a difference? Because if.
Don't disagree.
I mean, and I'm not coming at you, I'm just
Yep.
saying any mayor
Yep.
or any, you know, person of that, you know, so it just kind of, I understand now since he cleaned it up exactly what it means, but going forward, and you're right, I don't want to be, it's Monday Night Football, I don't want to be here all night.
Right.
But, you know, I think we all have enough respect for each other to where we just don't come in here and just make up demands that we want to do in order to get under people's skin.
Yes, I agree 100%. The issue is, I think we're solving an issue that hasn't been there. Like, we're literally bringing up something, the email was sent to the city manager saying a council member and a second is on there, modify the agenda. What he's saying is, no, he gets the discretion of that. We can always override, just like we did right now. Motion, second, the council then gets the decision, do we want to bring it forward or not, even for discussion. We just did that. So it's already on the books. We are actually operating in this zone right now. So if two alder people want to have something brought up for consideration, it gets brought up just like we did right now. So we're solving something that it doesn't need to be solved.
But I'm hearing, you know, we don't want city staff to do all this, but I think the way he's putting it is, if we talk about it here, and you guys, or no one wants to do it, then city staff has nothing to do.
Well,
As far as what
if I fought it, and the city manager fought it, something you wanted,
Yes, sir.
fictitiously, something you wanted to bring up, then you have the ability to bring it up, get a second council member to vote yes, we all vote, and if it turns out that there's support for it, then it gets put on the agenda.
And if it's not, then it goes away.
And I would say 999 times out of 1,000, everything gets put on in its due course. Yeah. Yes, city manager.
So practically, this is how it works when it's working well. City managers meet with aldermen on a regular basis. I started doing that 7 years ago. It fell away, not because I lost interest, but because people had other things, and then they thought, well, you seem to be doing okay, I'm okay. To Alderman Verbeek's credit, he's about the only one who still, other than the mayor, who still wants to meet with me on a regular basis. And it's not monthly, it's just
And we
whenever
do,
he
yeah.
asks, I'm there. We have breakfast or whatever it is. That's how you generate topics to come to to a council agenda. And usually what happens is there is some type of an expectation in that conversation in an informal setting where I can say, we can probably get something up in a month or in one of the next meetings. And I'll get some background, take a look at it. We've done that, we've negotiated that stuff. What doesn't work in my mind, and it doesn't work for you, that's the main thing. I can do whatever you want me to do, I can do. And there are some things that aren't going to get done that you expect to get done, but we can find out what those are. But where it falls apart is it just comes for the first time here, and it's actually not fair. What you're saying is that, so what do you think? And I can fumble a little bit. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to try to tell you what I don't know. But then it makes us, to the people who watch us and expect us to have some efficiency, this is not only a more responsible government, it's a more efficient government. We should be able to give you some background when you want it, when you're ready to talk about it in public. That's all I'm asking for. That's the responsible thing, and that's why it's called the council manager form of government, which is what our city attorney said and which I said earlier. So if that doesn't work, if it's a little bit up in the air every meeting what the real agenda is, eventually you're going to get another city manager. And I don't know who's going to run for that or who's going to go for that, because it makes this person, whoever's sitting here, awfully uncertain about what you want.
Right. So I think we settled it. I would highly encourage bring up agenda items as you have them to the city manager. I would appreciate being CC'd on them. I think all of you have received one, if not 4, if not 10, depending on how long you've been in office, of asked to meet with me. And that is always about, and I've talked to those of you that have had meetings with me, I'm looking for alignment. I'm just making sure that whatever I'm out there doing aligns with the direction of City Council. So I would completely encourage all of you, when I do those reach outs, I really do value the input and opinion. Alderman Walker, you're right, we don't always agree on things. No. And that's where we can do what we just did here, where there can be a vote, there can be a second, council votes, do we want to make a modification of the agenda? And that is democracy in action, and that is your vote and your seat on the council in action itself. So I don't think we're solving anything here. The ask is provide the city manager with what you want, CC me. If it doesn't happen and you don't get it on the agenda, then make a motion and we can do it this way. Although this way is the first time in the history of the 5 years I've been on that we've had to do something like this. I hope it's not necessary in the future because we do work really well together and we've seen that year after year after year. I think we could just probably move on, City Manager.
Well, I don't think you can, because the question on the floor is, how do city council members put a matter on the agenda? You need to give us direction. That's how the system's supposed to work. So you need to take some kind of at least a poll, since it's just a consideration, and direct me in one way or another. Either you direct me that I'm no longer the person creating the agenda, yep, or what am I? Give me some idea. Where am I?
The ordinance, I thought, spelled it out, but Alderwoman Zazata?
Yeah, I guess I'd just like to clarify what our understanding is. And I think that I'm on board with what our understanding is and what I believe that to be, and what I would, I guess, move forward with is the idea that any 2 council members can come to the city manager with their perspective, requesting to have it on the agenda, CC you out of courtesy, and if he can't get it on the most recent upcoming, the soonest agenda, then, we understand that it needs to be on a subsequent one or the next one, within like 2 months should be okay.
You're right, and City Manager, you're right, there's confusion here, because what I am saying is any one of you can reach out to City Manager Nicholas and talk about something you may.
You're saying individually rather than 2.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I think all of us have done that. And he will, at a time frame appropriate, put it on the agenda if he can. I don't think we've had an issue of that not happening.
There is a duality in the code, though. And
yep, I know.
And the city attorney, if you don't consider my view of this credible, then the city attorney can address that. But he's already given you a general overview of what you're on the edge of doing, which is changing the form of government we have. And this is not a constitutional discussion. It shouldn't be. There's not enough on the table here. I haven't gone back through the agenda. And, you know, unfortunately, our municipal code has been changed many times over many generations. And there are one-offs that are still there that don't make sense. They're not consistent with more recent. And in other ways, they maybe make more sense than the most recent stuff. But this is one area where clearly, and I'm not making this up, it's clearly a conflict with what the powers clauses are with the city manager. And if you don't want me to be your city manager, tell me that.
So
I didn't
clarification
think there was
for
a
me,
conflict.
And I'm kind of following, and I apologize for that. What you're saying is when I make the comment that a council member can make a motion to modify the agenda and get a second, and we vote for yes.
Of course.
You're saying that puts into question our.
No,
Oh,
not at all.
okay.
My job is to serve it up. I
Yep.
set the table for you.
Right.
What you do with it, you can say, we don't like any of this.
Right,
Now,
right,
obviously, over time, that isn't gonna be a very
Correct,
good
yes.
relationship.
We'd have to
And
remedy
you
that
get somebody who's
situation,
gonna
yes.
better guess what you like. I've never said it's any different than that. But if you're gonna get into my pockets while I'm trying to present that, and we get in the kitchen and make the agenda
Yeah.
and do the background and bring it up on a regular basis, I mean, there might be one, as I said, I have to concede, somebody's own profession is so much different than what I'm familiar with. You should bring something in and bring it. So that's what I was concerned about.
Alderman Larson.
Okay, so could we have voted today that we would like to have as a future consideration in, let's say, the next 2 months, this item? That would give us time to read more about it, even though we had a lot about, for this time, we had background information. But in the future, if somebody had something that we would all, like we do, because sometimes you'll do a consideration, you'll go, give us a head shake. Should we proceed with this or shouldn't we? So wonder if two council people say, we really have a concern with this, we'd like to see this as a consideration and have the city staff devote time to this in their calendar. That we could say yes, and that drops it until it gets to you, just like we had a private chat at breakfast or whatever. It gives you the time, and it gives all of us the vote to say, yes, we'd like that as a consideration. Can we vote on that?
I'm just confused
Now,
I'm confused at what the problem is. That's what I'd like to.
Problem is Alderman Zada.
Okay, and so what I felt like I was communicating was I was trying to lay out what I believe the current system to be.
Right.
And I was trying to understand if that seemed like an acceptable way to continue.
It seems like, we have one rule, but so many variations of it. Like, I just want to know, what's the rule? Just like, rules are the rules. Like, what is the rule? Is it two aldermen put it on an agenda and it's on, or is it city manager puts it for us, sets the table, and we abide by it? I just want to know the rule.
Well, I think the city manager said it's his agenda and his discretion.
And that's what
That's right. But
Rose is saying.
as soon as you open the meeting, it's yours.
Yes.
That's the point. You
Yes.
can do anything you want, but you can throw it out. I want to,
Right.
I want to add or
Which is what
delete.
we did today.
You can do that.
Which is
Yep.
what we did today.
That's right.
With one
So-
little caveat.
Yes.
With a caveat.
Okay, of course. Here we
The
go.
Open Meetings Act requires a
Yes.
certain level of notice.
Yes.
Yeah.
For a final action item, so.
In order to inform the public.
Right.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
So really, if we made a modification to want to do a consideration, we could add the consideration, and it really is, do we want to do that? City manager, without a lot of discussion on it, which will give the city manager time to do the background. The public has adequate notice of what we're going to be discussing in a council meeting. But as it stands right now, my understanding is, if you have something you want on the agenda, let the city manager know. I'm just asking for a little heads up. City manager, I think, is incredibly receptive, as well as will share with you probably some instant background on whether we should or should not, or if it's applicable or not. Decisions can be made from there. But once this meeting starts, as the city manager said, it's ours. We can make the modification. So again, I'm not sure what we're trying to fix here. I
So,
think
so
it's
my,
simple.
so you're absolutely, anytime in the preparation of your meal, if you, let's stick with this, I'm sorry, it's a little sloppy.
Go for it. You earned it.
You have some seasoning you want me to throw in, you have some experience on this, and you know we've been talking about this for a while, you call me. On the tobacco, for instance, a particular interest, strong interest, don't like this, don't like that, got on the agenda, we voted it, you know, according to your wishes. That wasn't one I was looking for, but it made a lot of sense, and there was some information provided, and I threw it up. And I have always done that. I could go back and you can see all the agendas and all the background, and you can all say that was something that I was particularly interested in, and I talked to him, and there it is. So that's all good. My concern was any two. Well, why not next week any three? Or, you know, it's the majority that sets the agenda, your majority. But I am just saying, I am very concerned about having the council take both sides of the process, because then you don't have the council manager form of government.
Understand.
And you don't need anybody over here, just hire some people who you like. Okay? That's all you need.
So I would say the way we've always been operating, let's just continue operating that way. You got something, bring it to the city manager and talk to him about it.
Which is like you laid it out, right?
2.09A, yes. It's in our municipal code. So we would need to modify that if we wanted to run any differently. That's it. No
Well-
feelings, no nothing, that's it.
Let's have the city
And some
attorney-
other things too. We could have the city attorney identify them and go through and take a little while in
Yeah.
chapters 2 and
I
3.
guess that's the direction we're gonna have to go, so let's clean up whatever the language is to solidify we are a city manager-run government.
Yeah.
And if we need to remove options that are out there, we'll remove the options that are out there, I guess. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, so I'm gonna move on to consideration 2, which 2 now is consideration of the annual property tax levy in the city of DeKalb. This is gonna be a hell of a transition for you, city manager, but I know you're up for it.
Ready?
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor. So it's no surprise to the people on dais and people in the audience tonight and people looking in that once a year, and it's in the fall of the year, that all taxing bodies in the state of Illinois consider a levy, which is the actual amount of money from the property tax that we feel is appropriate to keep our operations running. Each taxing body makes its own decision on that. One of the ingredients in it is the assessed valuation of that particular taxing body's jurisdiction. Ours is exactly identical with the libraries. It's similar to the Kishwaukee Water Reclamation District. It's just a little bit different, and a little bit different than the Park District. And when you've got Kishwaukee College, it's very different because they represent parts of 5 counties and so forth. But you know where I'm going. So that's what we're doing tonight. This is the kickoff. We have had some discussion about what our levy might be going back to August when we had the joint meeting, and then the Finance Advisory Committee took it up very specifically just a week ago and made a recommendation, which I'll get to in a moment. But let's start with comparative tax shares. I gave you some instructive tables in your background. We make up under 8% of the overall tax rate that property tax owners are going to see on a tax bill that will come out in late April. In 2019, the aggregate tax rate, which is all the taxing bodies together, was about $11.74 per $100 of VAV. That's pretty high, and mayor and council have worked very hard to try to reduce what we're immediately responsible for, which is the city rate, but also to encourage others to decrease their rate. And you've been successful. The aggregate rate at last year's discussion had been lowered to just under $8, so $7.97 per 100 EAV. That's a 32% decrease in just 5 years. It takes some communities decades to get that far. So many thanks, I think, in behalf of our local taxpayers. The City of DeKalb's property tax rate has been reduced almost 48%. So we have been leading, we're trying to, leaders lead, so we're trying to set an example. The trouble is, by doing that, we just, at 8% of the total, it takes a lot of that every year to move the needle, and we've paid more than the price for that. I have to say also that properties in DeKalb Township, which, as you know, is most of the DeKalb jurisdiction, there's some Afton Township, obviously, where Meta is, and some other properties. But the tax rate has been reduced 47.6% since 2018, as I said, but the value of properties has gone up almost 50%, 49.57%. So people will say, I'm paying more taxes. Well, yeah, the multiplication rate that affects all of our tax bills and is set by, it's suggested and recommended by each township assessor, and it goes to the supervisor of assessments at the county level, and it's locked in. And that has increased everybody's property. Whether you did anything to increase your property, adding a new porch or a new addition or something like that, that would be an addition. So your house is worth that much more than it was 6 years ago. The estimated EAV for 25 for taxes payable next year, next spring, is $1,441,621,388. So that's a pretty precise number, but I've been working very closely with a really outstanding public servant. That's our supervisor of assessments at the county level, and she's been always very willing to help. And so we're pegging our EAV at that. And that includes, by the way, a deduction for abatements that will go to a variety of corporations who have had property tax abatements as part of the incentive to get them to come to DeKalb. As in every fiscal year since 2013, so for the last 12 years, our property tax levy is entirely going to be dedicated toward funding of our fire and police pension obligations. We will meet this year, as we have annually every year for many years, our 100% of our current pension obligation, but there is an outstanding number which we are still working to knock down. I will say that in the last year, and in particular because the statewide Firefighters Pension Investment Fund has, through their consolidation, saved about $43 million in fees that otherwise would have been generated because every one of these smaller pension funds, before they were all consolidated, had an actuary they had to pay, and they might have had a lawyer they had to pay, and they had some people keeping track of the day-to-day numbers and so forth. And that has made a difference for us. Our shortfall between what we consider a reasonable levy and what the actual obligation is on the pension side is down from last year by a couple $100,000. And better than that, the actual obligation going forward in terms of unfunded dollars went down $1 million in the last year. So that consolidation has made a big difference. So what's before you tonight is a particular recommendation. We talked about a number of options before the Finance Advisory Committee last week, and after some discussion, their recommendation was to go with the city manager's suggestion, which is that our property tax levy should be $8,979,039, and that should keep, at this point it's more speculative than science, but that's our best guess, at where we would be to keep our rate the same as it was last year. So that's what's before you tonight.
And that ultimately is what we've been focused on, hyper-focused on for years now, was the actual property tax rate, not just with the city of DeKalb, but the aggregate property tax rate throughout our community. For me, I agree, we've been doing an incredible job, if not a Herculean job, on doing our part to drive the overall tax rate down now to, I'm going to say, competitive in the region. We are not the lowest in the region. The St. Charles, Batavia still take the cake on that. I know, it sounds crazy, but that's still the case. But we're getting there. You know, I could see when another windfall with as great as we've been doing attracting big business to our community, when another one of them drops in, we could have a whole discussion about continuing to drop our rate at that point. But right now, I think we've done a great job trying to make sure the taxpayer paid less dollars, even though, as City Manager Nicholas made mention, their property has gone up 50% roughly over the last 5, 6, 7 years. But at this point, we just need to hold the rate because of the police and fire pension crisis that's before us. And I, particularly, and I hope the rest of the council is incredibly proud of the work that we have done over the last handful of years in order to essentially hold the taxpayer harmless. But at this point, I'm definitely in favor of holding our rate exactly the same. And if someone's home value went up a little bit, well, they're just going to pay a little bit more in property taxes at that point. Council, questions or comments? Yes, Alderman Burke.
Yeah, I think great work, like you mentioned, over the past few years where we've been able to reduce that total, right? So, you know, the taxpayers have paid less. And, you know, I think, again, as a council, perhaps we need a retreat or something to spend time with the city manager, not inclusive of everyone, but just what is that vision? In other words, the pressure not to raise taxes, right? Even though we know that the reality, the cost of doing business, or CPI, is an increase. And how do we, as a council, get closer to that real cost of living increase with our levy? So unrealistic, I think, to say that it could be at a set amount. I think we need goals, though. I think we need to try to contain whatever the residents are paying in property tax, and the help along the way, too. City manager and staff do a great job of presenting budget changes and, you know, here's what's ahead, outstanding work. But the help I'm looking for is, for example, when we hire someone, let's say the financial analyst position that we hired, if I know that that hire equates to deficit spending, I don't know that I'm supportive of it, right? So how do we get our hands around that, adding that position, yet not asking for a greater amount of tax from taxpayers?
City manager.
I was just going to add one other thing. We haven't always talked about this, but it just happens that what's on the table tonight is no increase in the rate, an increase in the levy by 7.65%. And just so everybody on the council knows this, and people who are looking in know this, that the rate, the interest rate that is got to be met according to actuarial assumptions that are very specific to the two pension funds we're talking about here, is 7%. So there's just that little bit of wiggle room that we've added. Last year we went up 8%, but we had the benefit of less in the way of abatements to deduct, and so our EAV was higher, so we could do that, and the rate would still go down. This year we're trying to keep the rate the same. And 7% is what will help us keep up with our annual actuarial requirements. So you couldn't, if you said let's go with 3%, you could, but then that's all out of the general fund reserve. So it's not a natural thing, it's just something, we've got it, but you can't do that too often. So.
Any other comments or questions, council? Oh, Alderman Powell?
So in short, how much are we adding to the tax bill? Keeping the rate, how much more?
It's in your background. If you look at page, now this is just, there are so many different property owners. If you look on page 4, at the top, table 4, if you're talking about out of pocket,
Yeah, out of pocket.
it's right there.
But Bill, I got to call out, it's on a EAV of a home of
$400
$157,000,
yeah.
right?
So somebody who has a $150,000 house with an EAV of $50,000 will pay less.
Yes.
Somebody with $1 million house and an EAV of 333 and whatever is going to pay more. So I very specifically said, this is for a house which is now somewhere around, its
value
EAV
add.
is 157,000, but that's 3 times that, it's 450.
So that's, yeah, $450,000 house is the impact that we've been making.
Yeah.
And if I recall, and Alderman Zada could probably spout it right off of what the average home price is in the city of DeKalb, it's not going to be $450,000.
No, it's not.
Yes.
What is it?
We go by median.
Yes, Alderman Smith. Oh, sorry, Alderman Powell?
No, I said thanks.
Okay, Alderman Smith?
I agree with your assumptions, Bill. I've been over this 100 times. I think what things to be noted here is some of our projects. I mean, if you look at the citywide roads, for example, the only way we're going to be able to keep the ball rolling on our roads is to do exactly this. Equipment is behind. I mean, this is something that we're addressing, I mean, constantly. I mean, I think Andy's back there, probably, I know if I look at him, he'd shake his head, yes. Thank goodness fire has been able to leverage NEMT funds, or that would be another predicament we would be in. I agree with this, because I want to keep John busy since he walked in with roads. So I think this is something we just need to do, to maintain. You know, we do have some, I think we had a couple abatements last year where we overturned. Didn't we have a couple big tax appeals that probably should be reversed this year?
They will be, if not this year, then next year,
Okay.
because they'll be fully occupied, but it's probably too late for this year.
But I mean, one that.
Like
now-
Amazon? Yep.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
I didn't want to mention it, but heck, I'll go for it. Yeah,
Mhm.
they are now operational. The
Yes,
other one to
correct.
consider is in a couple of years, we're going to have, what, another 1 million square feet under operation, correct, down on Peace Road building? And then Panduit is another one, I think, that's making some movement on eventually. What I'm doing is kind of projecting. This isn't just the now, this
No.
is us projecting out.
It's a long, you're right, it's a long
Right.
game. It's a long
Right.
game.
And roads are part of that, and our improvements in town, our water, et cetera, are all now generating these positive pluses. I think I could go on and beating the horse, but I'm all for this, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh, Alderwoman Larson.
Just to continue what Alderman Smith was saying too, is I know there's been some chatter on social media about that we've been hiring way too many people, but I do want to point out that the fire department, back with the GEMT, we got the SAFER grant again. And so that covers, what, 3 people totally vested for 3 years? Is that what it was, the second time we got that? Is
It's
that-
it's actually 75, 75, 35.
Okay, okay.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, and we needed it to staff the new
Yeah.
fire department. All of our department heads have been doing so well about realizing, and that's one thing when you have a really old force of trucks and equipment and stuff, you know which ones need to be replaced yesterday. So to be able, you have all reached out and started shopping ahead, finding the deals. I mean, making this budget as productive as it can be. Every penny, you are squeezing every value out of it. And while we don't want to add another cost to our residents, they also have to realize that everything has been going up. So every input that the city has to buy has gone up. And it's not where we're just, sure, spend the money. We're just trying to almost maintain what we have and what our citizens have expected us to have, and to try to catch up on roads at the same time. So I'm all for this.
The other component too is, we show a tax rate and an aggregate tax rate that's trending down. If we tick it up, from an economic development standpoint, that is going to raise some red flags with some of the prospects that are out there. And I want to continue the momentum we've got going on in the south side, and we've got a lot of momentum still going on in the south side. So again, with fund balance that we've got right now, which is incredible, gives us a safety net or a whoopee. The fact that we can hold our rate and still be in a situation of providing excellent services to our residents and be able to move the needle forward some more on some roads and some other projects that we're doing. For me, I want to continue the path that we've been on since I've been on council. And I think what the city manager is suggesting here is just that. It's exactly what we've been approving year over year over year. And ultimately, I trust in that opinion. I trust in that recommendation, and we've seen it every year be to the benefit of the city of DeKalb, to city council, to the administration, and to all the departments that we have out there. So I don't see a reason to deviate from any recommendation the city manager is making on this levy. I think this is fiscally responsible for us to be able to give them the head nod to move forward. Alderman Carlson.
I wanted to go last because I'm the new guy, and sorry about the mask. I've been sick the last couple of days. I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, City Manager, a couple of new guy questions. And so we're going to keep our rate the same, right? That's what this is about.
That seems to be what the council wants to do.
Now, the dumb question may be, the other rates from all the other bodies.
Right.
Will they stay the same?
That's up to the other taxing bodies.
Okay.
But,
'cause- sorry, go ahead.
but on that, I've met with the president of the school board, and my understanding is what's before them is to keep the rate the same. I met with the executive director of the DeKalb Park District. Their rate may tick up a little bit, but we're talking cents. Overall, our leadership on how we've been reducing our rate and now our leadership in holding the rate is infectious. And the other taxing bodies, it appears so far, but again, it's always up to them, and they're all deciding this right now in their various boards and meetings. But it sounds like they're going to do everything they can to hold the rate right at that level.
Mayor, if I
Yes.
may add, just it's important
Absolutely.
that I mention that the library board has also
Yep.
already voted to keep their rate the same. And since that's part of our black box notice that will, if we proceed as you're directing right now, that comes out tomorrow or the next day or as soon as it's feasible, then that's important for you to know.
Alderman Carlson.
I just wanted to add to it, because when I decided I was going to run for alderperson, and I knew of the pension problems, and so it's always known, and I'm going to say it right here, I've been a union electrician almost my whole life. I've been looking forward to my pension like you wouldn't believe. Never will I allow people not to get their pension. Never. However, I always have to bring up Fourth Ward, because to a new person, you don't have 7% in ours or anyone else's except the school district. So that's what a lot of people bring up, not knowing all these numbers. 60% is, there's your money. If you're going to raise or lower, I get accused of raising taxes. I'd love to eat into that 60%, and then I can make all your dreams come true. But when I'm working with 0.62286, that's a tough one. So I do agree, and I very much appreciate all the work you did, because a new person could understand it, and that's all I wanted to add to it.
Any other comments or questions, council? All right, city manager, I think you're getting heads nodding with keeping the rate
Okay.
the same, and that will help you move forward on this incredibly busy time of budget season for you.
Thank you.
All right, that gets us to, moving to agenda item J, resolutions. Number 1, resolution 2025-097, authorizing an auditing services agreement with Sikich CPA LLC for auditing services related to fiscal years 2025 through 2029. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbeek, seconded by Alderwoman Larson. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is pretty straightforward. Every so many years, we test the water, see what other professionals who are in the business of auditing local governments, and particularly public auditors, how they would approach our city government and what their experience has been with municipal entities. And so thanks to Susan Hallman, who's our Director of Financial Services, we went out, circulated an RFP, got several proposals, one from Sikich, which was has been under contract with us the last 2 contracts, and another outfit out of Atlanta, Georgia, which has high-quality services, good recommendations, but they don't travel. They try to do all this electronically, and that does add, and not only is their cost higher, but it also then adds to our time, and time is money. So we thought, in this case, if they want to move and create an office somewhere in Northern Illinois, we'd be happy to consider them seriously next time around, but that wasn't in the cards, so we recommend you support the recommendation to go with Sikich.
Any comments or questions, council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. Resolution 2025-097 passes. Moving on to number 2, Resolution 2025-098, authorizing the purchase and equipping of one 2023 police package Dodge Durango based on the Illinois Central Management Services contract pricing in an amount not to exceed $38,508. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Powell, seconded by Alderwoman Larson. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a good story, actually, a good result. I want to thank the police department for scrambling to get us a good deal on a replacement vehicle after one of our squads was damaged by somebody else in a crash. That was a 2021 Ford Explorer, which is, four or 5 years on in terms of model years, but one of our newer squads. And so we need to replace it. It's a frontline vehicle. I want to thank the police administration for going out and finding a 23 Dodge Durango with less than 60 miles on it. And it's in good shape. It's not been under a tarp all this time. And it's also, it comes to us priced at the Illinois state purchasing prices, which is not to exceed $38,508. Now, there's a little bit, we have a vehicle, the damaged vehicle that we're going to sell for a couple $1,000s. We're going to need to, we can strip some of that vehicle of the usual upfitting stuff, but not all of it. Some of it was damaged. So all in all, we have a spread that would fall as cost us after insurance and so forth of about $10,500. It happens that we have a seizure fund that can cover this, so nothing out of the police budget or the capital fund budget to replace this vehicle, and we recommend your approval.
Questions or comments, council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. Resolution 2025-098 passes. Moving on to agenda item K, ordinances, second reading, we have none. Moving on to agenda item L, ordinances, first reading, we have none. So agenda item M, reports and communication, council member reports. Alderman Smith, you want to kick us
No
off?
report.
All right, Alderman Powell.
No report.
Alderman Walker.
Not really a report, just a heads up. So we know Friday is Halloween, so just everybody be safe. Watch your kids. I'm sure we'll have extra idiots out, since it's Friday. So just be safe.
Alderman Verbic.
No report.
Alderman Carlson.
I've got a couple. I was last week asked to come out of the bullpen and go on TD Ryan Unleashed again, so it ought to be coming out, and pray for me. On the second is, and I hate being the Debbie Downer each time, I didn't expect this in my first 6 months, but another Fourth Ward legend passed away since the last meeting. Bill Lovett And I think everyone knows Lovett's Towing in DeKalb, at least I have since I was a kid. I didn't know Bill very well, but I graduated high school with his daughter Carrie. Very nice family, great business for the Foresight, and just want to offer my prayers and condolences to that family as well. And hopefully, no more. Let 2025 end, please.
Alderwoman Larson.
Just a couple of things. Fall harvest is still going on, and so there's farm equipment on a lot of our roads. And I'll tell you, as a wife of a farmer, they're all getting really tired. So they will make poor choices maybe, so just be alert for them. It's still dark at morning commute. And the second thing, because I almost went down, wet leaves on the street. It's like ice. And so driving, just kind of be aware, because they're calling for maybe showers on Tuesday. So that's my two.
Mine, I had lunch with Bruce Griffiths, Alderwoman Zazada. Sorry.
Thank you. I was just
I
going to
caught
say, I saw, good catch. Halloween hours appear to be 4 to 7 p.m. on Friday. Just want to reiterate that. And as Alderwoman Larson mentioned, the leaves, if you've got a gutter in front of your house, just clear it, because that rain's coming and the winter's coming too. That's all.
It's a great call out, because I just had someone reach out to me that it's the city's responsibility to clean all the drains. I don't know, could you guess how many drains there are out there, Andy Rye?
About 6,500.
Yeah, so 6,500 out there. I don't think any taxpayer is going to want us to cover that. Otherwise, they're really going to be seeing an increase in their tax bill. So I agree 100%. Come on out, clean out your drains, and help the city out. This is something you can do for the city of DeKalb as a resident. Real quick, I had lunch with Bruce Griffith's Leadership Academy. If you don't know the name Bruce Griffith, you need to. And I tell you, if Bruce Griffith ever comes around, he wants one of two things. He wants money or your time, and you will give him whatever it is that he asks. Because what he does for our youth and our community, oh my gosh. The group of, I think, 80 students that I was around are just some of the brightest, and they come from Sycamore and DeKalb and Genoa, and the program his Leadership Academy does for seniors in all the school districts in the region is just staggering. Also went to the Finance Advisory Commission meeting last Monday. Alderwoman Larson was there. I got to hear a bunch of discussion, including some of the discussion around what we discussed today with our tax levy. That is a great group on the commission that we have, so it was really cool just to hear them talk and the discussion that pursued. And then lastly, had a meeting on America's 250. So it's just a reminder, next year is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We are working into the budget some funds to be able to have an incredible fireworks display and a bunch of other things. And I really hope City Council is going to be behind this absolutely unique opportunity to be able to celebrate such a significant, historic, and I'll say worldwide event. And we have the opportunity, working with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, to really highlight DeKalb. And I think with what we have planned and the group that we've got together, our last meeting had probably 50 people there representing organizations across the community. I think we got a real opportunity to have a lot of eyes on the city of DeKalb in such a positive way, especially with all the polarization going on in politics these days. This is something cool. This is something we can be foundational on showing the state of Illinois what it really means to be proud Americans. And this is going to be great to see it unfold. If you want to know more about it, council members, happy to add you to the calendar event and have you come out to some of those meetings. Other than that, city manager, do you have anything?
No report.
No report, all right. So then that moves us on to executive session. I would ask for a motion to approve to hold an executive session meeting to discuss personnel as provided for in 5 ILCS 120/2C1.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Alderman Zada, seconded by Alderman Smith. Roll call, please.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zazada,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes. All right, we are approved to go into executive session. We are now in recess. Good night, everybody.